You don't have to live like this. Welcome to Change the Conversation with the Hopefulist. My name is Wendy McClure, and it's time we had a conversation about living in a patriarchy and how that affects our lives. Together, we can make a difference and change the conversation. Welcome, and thank you for being here. I applaud you for digging in and listening to these difficult situations, these hard conversations about how we've gotten to where we are and what we can do to make a difference in the future, what we can do to change things. And that starts with changing the conversation. It starts with pointing out how the system has been rigged against us as women all along. And it's something that we haven't ever really challenged because we've never been encouraged to challenge it. We've never been encouraged to think about things in a different way. We grew up in this patriarchal system and just accepted it as the way that it is, because that is the way that it is. But the way that we start to make change, the way that we start to make a difference and start to make lives better for women is to have these conversations, to point out how everything has been stacked against us and how no matter what we do, it is not good enough. So thank you for being here. It is very brave of you and courageous of you, and I applaud you for the effort. I want to start out today with the quote of the day, which is, "It is not as much about who you used to be as it is about who you choose to be." It doesn't matter who you've been in the past. It's all about who you want to be now, in the present, and in the future. Which leads me to another quote, because this is important. It's only after you've stepped outside your comfort zone that you begin to change, grow, and transform. Now, I've been going through my own transformation and journey these last couple of years, and I have to tell you that I believe that I have made the biggest change in just the last year or so. I have really come into myself. I have really gotten to know myself, embrace myself, and love myself, accept myself fully, probably for the first time ever. And I have put a lot of thought into why. Why now? What has happened? What is the difference? If you don't know much about me, I don't tend to talk about politics much on here, about my own personal views when it comes to things other than the overturn of Roe v. Wade, which makes women do things with their body and their lives that they don't want to do. So I happen to be a lifelong Republican. I grew up in a Republican family, and I heard the Republican views my entire life. Now, I started to think a little bit differently than the Republican side after reading a book called Small Great Things from Jodi Picoult. And if you want to have an eye-opening experience about the people of color in this country, the people of the BIPOC community, and what their experience is like, I recommend that you read that book, Small Great Things by Jodi Picoult. It really started to shift my outlook on the differences in the way that they walked through life and the way that I walk through life. So that was what, kind of started to open up my mind a little bit to realize that my experience is not the only experience. And that really piqued my interest. So I started to read more books about the BIPOC experience in this country. And I started to dig in a little bit about stories from them personally. And I slowly started to realize that I didn't necessarily agree with all of the conservative values that I was brought up with. And the more I dug in, the more I found that I didn't agree with them much at all. And now the Republican Party has taken a very drastic turn. They're banning books, and they're making it so that no one can get ahead in this country anymore without. Well, they just can't get ahead. I mean, they've banned affirmative action from college admittance. They've granted a woman who didn't even have a particular person that wanted to have her make them a website, but she preeminently took a case to the Supreme Court saying, I don't want to have to create websites for gay people. And they said, that's okay. You don't have to. So, in the past couple of years, we've taken so many rights away from women. We're erasing true American history. We're talking about how slaves got benefits from being enslaved. It's just become so ridiculous and ludicrous that I find myself with the opposite view now. I'm not even going to go into the attack on trans people. I mean, we didn't even know the amount of trans people there were in this country until 5 years ago because they just lived in peace. Now there's just violence against them constantly. And the reason is because they're being targeted by a group of politicians who want people to not see what's really going on behind closed doors. It's a distraction. It's a distraction. And it's working. But once I started to really kind of sift through what I had always believed and what I believe now, I feel that I've come into my own a little bit. And I do have to say that I would have things come out of my mouth with a conservative point of view, and it would just not sit right with me. I would be like, I would say it, and then I'd be like, I don't know. I feel like that can be challenged and thrown right back in my face. You know what I mean? And now that I have different views, I don't care if somebody challenges me and throws it back in my face. I can debate you. I can tell you all that you need to know, all that I need to know. I mean, I don't know everything about everything. Obviously, that's not what I'm trying to say. But I know enough to know my stance and to know why I believe what I believe and to believe that I know that what I am doing, what I stand for is right for me. And it's worth fighting for. And this really came to a head when Roe was overturned and they forced women to be second-class citizens because they cannot choose what to do with their own body and to direct their own life. That means we don't have choices. That means we can't determine what type of life we are going to have if we are forced to have children. You know, pregnancy isn't something that just takes a week or two and then it's, you just put them up for adoption. And then, no, this is like, a major undertaking. It's a major undertaking. It's life-threatening. Can be life-threatening. I can only imagine if there's people that I know that love to kick back on the weekends, relax, let off some steam, have a few drinks. Imagine not being able to do that for 9 months. Imagine the man in your life who loves to come home from work after a long day, crack open that cold beer. But he can't now, not for at least the next 9 months, because he's pregnant. Whether he wants to be or not, he's pregnant. Can't enjoy that after work cold beer. can't have sushi anymore, can't take a pain reliever when they have a headache, can only drink 1 cup of coffee per day. These are the things that we're not even talking about. But could you imagine the man in your life giving all of that up for something that he doesn't want? Could you imagine the man in your life giving all that up for something he does want? This is what I'm talking about when I'm talking about changing the conversation. There are so many differences in the rules for men as there are for women. And I just wanted to go over a couple of them that are so obvious and so outlandish, and ones that we've just accepted. It's just accepted. Let's talk about the fact that women are called nags. Ugh, old ball and chain. It's always all over my case. Yeah, let's say that I asked you to snake the drain in the bathtub. I asked you to snake the drain. You don't do it. The water keeps backing up in the shower. Babe, can you snake the drain for me that the water's backing up? Yep. I'll get to it. Another 2 showers go by. Babe, come on. I asked you twice now. Snake the drain. Can you do it now? I'm watching TV right now. I will get to it. I will do it. Another shower goes by. Now the water's really backing up. Might even overflow a little bit if you have like one of those stand-up showers. I have a little stand-up shower and doesn't have a lot to go. It doesn't have a lot of room to go somewhere if the water is backing up. You get out of the shower, there's water everywhere. Now you're just furious. Babe, what the hell? You told me a week ago you were going to snake the drain. Ugh, I forgot. All right, God, I forgot. But we're the nags. We're the ones that come off looking bad. We are the ones that get complained about. Oh my gosh, my wife is nagging me so bad about this stupid drain in her bathtub. Yeah, because I've asked you 5 times and it's still not done. But we are the nags. Somehow we have become the bad guy in this scenario. Does that make any sense? Now think about it logically, critically. Does that make sense? No, it doesn't. It makes absolutely 0 sense. But we are the nags. Also, when we, go through our hormonal changes, we have our cycles, and that makes our hormones different all different times of the month. We are up, we're down, we're all kinds of things. Do we get any kind of, compensation? Not compensation, that's not the word I'm looking for, but do we get a break for that? Do we get consideration for that? No. Get up, go to work, get the kids their lunches, get them on the school bus, come home, make me dinner, and then you can relax. It's so mind-boggling to me whether there's people here that say, and I hear it all the time, what rights don't women have now? We have made it so normal for women to be the bad guy in every situation that it doesn't even faze us. Women are conditioned and groomed and taught to believe from the time that we are little children, always look your best. They try to equate our worth with how we look. You got to do the makeup, and you got to do the hair, and you got to dress nice. You got to wear those heels. They'll kill your feet, but man, they look good on you. This is what we're told. But God forbid we take more than a half hour to get ready. You know, all of that takes a lot of work. There's a lot that goes into doing the hair and doing the makeup. And, it's taxing. It's hard labor, basically. And yet all we hear is she's never on time. She's always late. She takes so long to get ready. But I do guarantee that if you just come out of the shower, comb your hair out, do a little shake, throw on some clothes, they're going to have an issue with that too. So, in a no-win situation, yeah, I think so. Let's talk about men's hobbies versus women's hobbies. Men like to play golf. Golf is very expensive. Golf is very lengthy. Takes hours to play golf. Men like to go to sports. They like to go there and watch their home team and root them on. And another ridiculously expensive thing that is cause for that. They buy all of the jerseys and the hats and all of the stuff that goes along with that. And, that's men time. That's their time to relax and unwind. They deserve that. But if a woman wants to go get her nails done, it's frivolous. It's selfish. Oh, you got to go get your nails done? Ugh, okay. Men get man caves. What do women get? Women get the rest of the house? So what room is truly hers? What room is hers that no one else is allowed to go into? What room does she have that the spouse and the kids are not allowed to bother her in? Because it's not even the bathroom. But again, this is okay. Men work hard. They need to de-stress. But I wanted to point out a little bit about how much money these hobbies are that men do, like golf, boating. There's all kinds of different, hobbies and situations that men like to spend their money on. A lot of money. But women say want to go to a concert, a Taylor Swift concert, and they're made fun of. Really? Taylor Swift? Are you serious? So, if you ever hear that, say that about your partner's sports team. Oh, I got tickets to the Giants game. The Giants? Really? Are you kidding? How much were those tickets? Don't you think we can spend our money on something a little bit better than that? But that's the difference. It's not considered frivolous and stupid when men want to do it. Only when women want to do it. Getting your nails done, paying to have your nails done is looked at as frivolous. Why is that? Golf's not looked at that way. Men's tennis is not looked at that way. Going to a NASCAR race isn't looked at that way. And getting your nails done could be $25. Where a round of golf is what? 100 and something? Not to mention the clubs, the clothes, the drinks. I saw a video not that long ago from a woman who was talking to a male friend of hers who said he had to get an ultrasound of his, nether region. And we women, we all predominantly know what an ultrasound is. We've all typically have had to have one at one time or another. It's, you put the gel on the area. We usually get it on our abdomen, get the gel on the area, and then they take the thing and they rub it on top of it. And that's what they were going to do to his nether regions. So yeah, I can understand, being not crazy about that whole thing. We get our boobs smashed in between two pieces of glass. We know it's not comfortable. But when it comes to women having an ultrasound, most of the time they stick a wand up you and look that way. And they stick it in there, move it all around, go from side to side. And the point of this is, the man said to his friend, well, yeah, they gave me a sedative. Wait a minute, what? They gave you a sedative? He's like, oh, yeah, well, very nervous, it's one of those situations, where I was really scared. Oh, okay, well, we love when somebody sticks a wand up us and starts moving it all around. No, we don't get offered a sedative. We don't get offered anything. There's going to be a little bit of discomfort. Sometimes they'll say that. Other times it's just like there's a pinch. Did you ever have a cold steel stuck inside of you and then twisted so it goes further and further out? Did you ever have something like that? No, I'm sure you didn't as a man. We don't get a sedative for that. We don't get a sedative for anything. Really? And I'm trying to think, I'm trying not to be as callous as I can be and think they really maybe just believe that we're more equipped to handle such things because we are the bringer of life, that we can birth a baby, or maybe they just don't care if we're uncomfortable. Have you ever had to go back to the gynecologist after having some abnormal tests run? And they go inside you again? And this time they want to get a little bit of flesh off the uterine wall. Yeah, they're just going to take a little prong there and they're going to attach it to the side and just plink it off. Just plink it off. Did I get a sedative when that happened to me? Nope. But for an ultrasound, we have to make sure that men have a sedative because it can be very, very disruptive and very scary for them, very traumatic. And we don't want that for men. That is saved for the women. I'm just trying to point out some glaringly obvious differences between the way that men are treated and the way that women are treated. Just kind of as an overall proof of how extreme the two sides are. The extreme difference between the two sides. I often watch the show Everybody Loves Raymond. And if you have not watched that show, you have to, because it's one of the funniest shows ever. But the next time you watch it, that show is the perfect example of a patriarchy. He does anything and everything to get out of doing anything. He's always out playing golf, never wants to take care of the kids, doesn't want to help around the house. But in a funny way. I really should be offended and not watch it, but I can't help it because I love the show. But, he pretended like he couldn't fold clothes properly so that he didn't get asked to do it anymore. When she figured that out, she's like, I often thought, so how can a person with thumbs not fold a shirt? Comes to find out that she asked him to hire the band for their wedding. And he came up with the one man rubber band man. I don't know. It was a very one man band. And she realizes this too. And because that's what he tells his brother. Look, make it, mess it up, and then they won't ask you to do it again. I even have that situation in my own home where, we have a power washer. We have a vinyl fence, a white vinyl fence. And man, do they look good, but man, do they get dirty. They get really dirty. So I asked my husband to power wash it after we had first gotten it, and it looked to me like he hadn't done a thing. So what he must have done is just taken the sprayer and just sprayed it all over the whole thing. Now, I don't do it that way. I go post by post. I start at the top and I go down, and then I go to the next one and I go down, and then I turn around and I do the other side, because you know what? There's 4 sides to a post. He's never going to do that unless I'm standing over him screaming, "This is how you do it. This is how you do it." So you know how I solved that problem? I do it myself. Now, my husband and I have really traditional roles when it comes to our marriage, where, I do the cleaning and the laundry, and, he does like the outside stuff, the more labor-intensive stuff. When we don't have a lawn, we have stones, so he doesn't have to mow the lawn. We get very little snow. And even when we do, if we get a lot of snow, I feel so bad that he's out there shoveling snow while I'm all warm and toasty inside. I'll usually go out and help him. I do all of the dishes. He does the cooking on the weekends. We kind of fend for ourselves during the week, but on the weekends, he does the cooking. He is the cook of the family. And I'm blessed with that. I love that. I don't like to cook. I'm not a good cook, and I'm so glad that he likes to cook because it makes everything easier. So I clean up. He's also very good with a clean up as he goes kind of person. So I'm really lucky for the most part. But, this power washing really falls under his line of duty. And I even had this conversation. I said, I don't like the way that you power wash. You don't do it the way that it needs to be done. I don't enjoy spending hours power washing the fence, but I want it to be clean because we spent a boatload of money on it. It was ridiculously expensive, and I want it to look nice. You only have to power wash it once or twice a year. Well, that's all I power wash it is once or twice a year. Probably should be done more often, but it's an all-day event. By the end of the day, my hand is like shaking from holding that little trigger thing. It's not fun. I don't enjoy it. I don't want to do it, but I want it to be done right. So I have to do it. And then when men do offer to help, they're like this big hero. Did the dishes for you, babe. Oh, did you? Did you do the dishes for me? Thank you so much. Did you eat the dinner? Then you didn't just do the dishes for me. You just did the dishes. And this is the point we're at now in the patriarchy, where we as women have decided that we don't need to thank men for every single little thing that they do. And I am as guilty of this as most women, I'm sure. Whenever my husband does anything, thanks for doing that, babe. Thanks for snaking the drain. Thanks for emptying the dishwasher. He never thanks me for emptying the dishwasher, cleaning the house, baking the bed, that kind of stuff. We are very polite with each other. He will say after I'm done doing, thanks for doing the dishes, I'll say thanks for dinner. We try to be very polite, but there are certain things that he never thanks me for. Never thanks me for doing the dishes every morning after he leaves to go to work. Never thanks me for cleaning the house. Never thanks me for doing the laundry, making the bed, washing the sheets and remaking the whole bed. And I'm not mad. I'm not mad over it. But why do I feel the need to have to thank him for every little thing that he does? Because that's what we do for men. We thank them for every little thing. We make them a hero for doing the bare minimum, for cleaning up after themselves. They expect to be thanked for that. Not everyone, but a lot. Well, I just did the dishes for you. You're still not happy? No, it's not that I'm not happy. I just don't think that it was anything that it was, above and beyond. The dishes need to be done. What was I doing while you were doing the dishes? Was I taking care of the kids? Was I folding the laundry? Or, could I have been sitting on my ass watching TV? Maybe I needed to de-stress from the day. Women need to do that too, regardless of whether they work inside or outside of the home. I hear women talking about, a situation in their marriage they're not happy with. Well, he does this, but, he doesn't beat me. It's not like he beats me or like is cheating on me. He's not supposed to. That's not supposed to be the standard. At least he doesn't beat me or cheat on me. That is not a standard. That is supposed to be a given. You're not supposed to be beaten. You're not supposed to be cheated on. And we're not going to make these men feel like heroes for doing the bare minimum, for not doing things they shouldn't be doing to begin with. Why are we praising men for not beating their wives or cheating on them? Seriously. Do you know how insane and absurd that sounds? Well, at least he doesn't beat me. At least he doesn't beat me. But that's how prevalent stuff like that is in this day and age. And it's always been that way. I don't know why I said day and age. It's always been that way. But to think that you have a good man because he doesn't beat you and because he doesn't cheat on you, that is a pretty damn low standard, don't you think? And maybe this will give you a little inclination as to why women are choosing to opt out. Because they don't want to deal with the BS anymore. They don't want to be treated badly by a person who at least doesn't beat them. Or at least doesn't cheat on them. They don't want to have to center a man in their life who doesn't give two thoughts about her during the day. This is why single women are the happiest demographic in this country. That's just a statistic. It's just a true statistic. So I hope that some of this has opened your eyes. If you know somebody that kind of pushes back against the patriarchy, claims that it's not real, that women have all the same rights as men, pass this along to them. Some of the very glaring, obvious differences between the way men are treated and the way women are treated. And there's so much more. Stay tuned. I've got so much more coming when we're talking about aging and your appearance in a patriarchy, marriage in a patriarchy, dating in a patriarchy, your health, women's health in a patriarchy. There is so much more to come. And I hope that you stay tuned, and I hope that you come back each and every week for more about how we, as a collective, we all can change the conversation around patriarchy to make lives better for women, to make things a little more even for women, to make things a little more comfortable for women. That is the goal. That is the object. That is what we're hoping for. That is what we're working toward. For more information, please go to my website. It's hopefulist.com. If you have not had a chance to rate and review this podcast, please do. If you haven't hit that subscribe or follow button, please do as well. It is completely free. You will never be charged for listening to the Hopefulist. So please spread the word. And feel free to follow me on any of my social media accounts. I'm at _Hopefulist on Instagram, The Hopefulist on Facebook, TikTok, Twitter, LinkedIn, Wendy McClure. One of the two you will find me under. So I thank you for being here. I appreciate you. I see you. I feel you. I understand you. And I want to help you and each and every woman who has been held back and held down by this system that has forced them to play a role that they don't necessarily want to play. And we're all going to do this together. So go on out there and be badass this week. You know I'm here, cheering you on. Thank you for joining me in this conversation. Together, we are better. Please visit my website at hopefulist.com and remember to hit that subscribe or follow button.